Hello everybody, it's Bourbon Bill, and tonight a very special news episode update. Also some bourbons I'm not buying this year, but we got some breaking news. I'm fighting a little bit of a cold, have been for weeks now, so hopefully I'll be back on the mend soon. But we have some breaking bourbon news, new label releases that we didn't cover in our last video that have come out since, and they're worth talking about. So we're going to go over those. Also, a sneak peek and an upcoming review of what could be my rye of the year. Only 2 months in, we may have already found it. And then just some bourbons coming out this year that I have zero interest in. So there we go. That's the agenda today. So sit down, grab a pour, relax, and enjoy some news. First up, not confirmed yet, a rumor, but somewhat substantiated. We might know what the Knob Creek release is this year. So we talked about in my video, hey, are they going to do Knob Creek 18 again? We don't know. Next year in 2026 would be their 35th anniversary, so I thought they would maybe do something special next year. But there's been some leaked info that there's going to be a dinner at Knob Creek later in the year, and they're going to be releasing Knob Creek 21 year. Holy shit, does that sound good, right? Oh, if 18 wasn't oaky enough for you, sit down, because 21 years coming. Now, there's been no label release on the TTB yet, so again, we can't confirm that, but that's some good news if you're a Knob Creek fan. Okay, like me. I'm ecstatic for that. There's also a rumor that the Hardins Creek Terroir series was coming back. This happens to be the mini. They sold them in a 3-set. But in 2023, Hardins Creek did the Terroir series, as we call it, from different rick houses. So there was the Frankfurt, the Claremont, and the Boston. And they also sold them in a mini 3-set, so you could try all three, which is really cool. I preferred the Frankfurt out of those three, and I think this won my Bourbon of the Year in 2023. Go watch that old video if you so happen to have the time. So I heard a rumor they were going to be redoing these for 2025. I was pretty excited. I was like, oh man, they're going to be older. You know, these were 17 years old. We don't know. But they have released the labels. I'll put a couple of them I'll put a couple of them up on the screen. They're 11-year-old, so it's like, you know, we really dug the 17s as well as the Hardins Creek, Jacob's Well Batch 2, my ultimate Hardins Creek, which was 17 and a half years old. But the labels from the TTB show 11-year products from multiple warehouses. There's like 3 or 4 now, so I think they're a little bit different. It's not exactly a redo of this, but they are doing like a Wild Turkey knockoff of the single rick, kind of. They're doing another iteration of the Hardins Creek lineup. Looks to be 11 years old. I'm a player if the price is right. That's what we'll say. You know, these 17-year-olds were about a $160 to $170 a bottle MSRP back then, and okay, it was $10 a year, so I'm hoping the 11-year-olds are like $100 around there. I don't want to see them at 170 because then I just won't be a buyer at that price, right? It's got to have the age in it for that price. So we don't know the pricing yet, but pretty pumped for that. So Beam's putting out some good stuff for you. They are. Oh, I almost forgot. Thank you to the sponsor of today's video, ZBiotics. Look, you got to take these before you have your first drink of the night. In case you're new here, we're going to go over it. Have you just not bounced back well the next day after a night out with the boys or the gals? Did you watch my Sagamore Blind Flight video? Of course, Nate and I had some of these before that video just to hang in there and be sharp the next day. Helped us out. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by those smart PhD scientists to help tackle those rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. And it's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next morning. Pre-alcohol here produces an enzyme that breaks down that toxic byproduct in the gut, helping you feel better the next day. So just remember, like I almost forgot, drink this before you drink this. Get plenty of rest, drink some water, and you'll feel better tomorrow. Now, click below in the description. There's a link in there. Click on that link, and that link's going to save you 15% off your first order with ZBiotics. Here I am helping you save money yet again. So make sure to go in that description and click the link. Now, back to our regularly scheduled programming. One of my favorite ryes, also from 2023, I don't have a bottle right now, was Driftless Glen rye. They're a craft distillery. They distill their own, you know. Exciting news, they did release a label. They now have 10-year-old barrel-proof rye. Holy smokes, I'm going to be interested in that. So I'll be looking for a bottle of that. Generally, they're picks, but maybe since they released that label, it doesn't look like it's going to be a pick, but like, you know, could be a wider release. I'm in. You know, I had like a 7-year-old rye from them, was really good. 10-year, look out. I'm pumped for that. It'll probably be a pretty fair price, under $100 too. I did forget to mention that Driftless Glen is also doing a 10-year-old bourbon. Also pretty exciting. Their bourbon's pretty good too. So be on the lookout for that. Peerless, another one of my, you know, I love their double oak rye, their double oak bourbon. They're now doing a Peerless toasted rye. So you might say, well, Bourbon Bill, Peerless toasted, you didn't love it when you had a sample of it. You thought it was good. It was in your advent calendar. True, but that was the bourbon. That was the bourbon. And well, I did like it. I just didn't think it was better than the double oak at the time. So that was what I struggled with. But toasting a rye generally brings about better results. So will the Peerless toasted rye be better than the Peerless double oak rye? I don't know. I'm keen to see how that turned out from them. So I'm pretty excited about that. If we take a step back to legacy, one of the things that I asked for, I begged, Heaven Hill, please, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Rye. So they released 2 labels of this. One will be at the Bottle Your Own tour that they do at the distillery. So if you go and do that tour, you get the bottle, and you usually get to choose from a few different things. That'll be one of the choices eventually, but they released another label showing a batch product with an age statement and a proof in the 130s. The age was like a 12-year-old barrel proof rye. So pretty exciting. Don't know when, because the batch number was like a placeholder. Don't know when, but hopefully this year. And I'm going to be pretty pumped to see Elijah Craig rye at barrel proof, especially with a high age and a high proof. Now, I can't remember if we talked about this before or not, but Jack Daniels obviously has already released a Jack Daniels 14 year. So if you can get a bottle for me, let me know. I need one. Badly I need one. So that's a shameless plug to help me for that. But beyond that, I think I said this in the last video, Jack Daniels is releasing a toasted bourbon, a heritage barrel toasted bourbon. I thought that would be their LE for the year. I was pretty excited for it. I still am. It appears that might be a shelfer. That's great news, right? Appears that might be a shelfer. The LE for this year, though, actually Tanyard Hill Rye. You might say, what the fuck's that, Bourbon Bill? Don't know, but it's apparently a new hill instead of Coy Hill that they're pulling a rye from. It's a 10-year-old barrel-proof rye, so that's pretty fucking awesome from Jack Daniels, right? And they say the Tanyard Hill is a location where one of the first barrel houses was on top of that hill. So it's kind of hopefully going to be like a Coy Hill, but it's a Tanyard Hill rye, 10-year-old rye. I'm pumped for that. That's going to be a killer LE from JD, in addition to the 14-year. Also, they did release, batch 4 of the 10-year and batch 3 of the 12-year. So again, if anyone has lines on them, let me know. Do need them. Let's quickly dive into some releases I just don't care about this year. Blood Oath. For the price, they've all just been okay, not great, not memorable. Don't care to even know what the release is going to be this year. But I do know because I just can't help it. It's some sort of tequila finish. I'm pretty much always out on Blood Oath. They just don't do enough for me these days. Second distillery that I just refuse to buy from, Yellowstone Bourbon. Every year I've had some of their store picks, was not impressed. Their LEs also just fail to impress. Like, they always sound good, but then they're just not that impressive for the $120 hairs. And I don't want you to be fooled. They did release a label. this year, 2025, is their 10th anniversary, and they're releasing a 10-year-old bourbon, and you're like, well, Bourbon Bill, it could finally be good, you know? And I'm sure it will be, because on the back of that bottle, it says distilled in Indiana. So don't be fooled. Yellowstone, for their 10th anniversary, is releasing a 10-year-old MGP bourbon at like 105 proof, which probably going to be good, but probably going to be horribly overpriced. So I just got to put that out there. It's probably not going to be priced right. Probably will be good because it's 10-year-old MGP bourbon, but I mean, let's not forget, here's 11.5-year-old barrel proof MGP bourbon for like $70 hairs a bottle. I guarantee you, Yellowstone's going to rake you over the barrel for more than $70 hairs for a year and a half younger MGP. Just saying. And that brings us to the sneak peek part of tonight's episode. What could be my rye of the year? So let's first do a quick spoiler. If you did not watch my top 10 ryes of the year, first off, get off your ass and watch it. Second of all, shame on you. But my 2024 rye of the year, for those that their memory's just fuzzy, was this River Roots Shelf Clear Society pick of MGP rye. And this was a 12-year-old, 8-month barrel proof MGP rye, and it was dark, delicious, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Easily first for my ryes of the year. It was 106.24 proof, compute, 53.12% alcohol by volume. And I talked a lot about the deliciousness of 2024 of all the high-aged MGP rye. River Roots wasn't the only one to be doing it. There was others, like Short Barrel, Southern Collective, a few others did it as well. But there were companies putting out high-aged MGP barrel-proof rye for very reasonable prices. Well, big shout out to my buddy Kevin, who walked into the distillery and snagged this for me. Oh, River Roots Founders Reserve in a very similar bottle. It's River Roots again. It is the green wax. Oh, the wax topper just came off there. It is the green wax. This was their distillery pick, so this wasn't a group. But let's just 13 years old. So I was right. There are still barrels of that high-age MGP barrel-proof rye coming out. They are aging more, and they are being released in 2025. This one was 104.5 proof, compute, 52.25% alcohol by volume. So another low barrel proof. I had a quick sip. Delicious. Thank you, Kevin, again for your help. Couldn't have done it without you. The best price, folks. He walked in, bought this from the distillery with tax included. Can we take a guess? $97 hairs. Holy shit. $97 hairs for a 13-year-old barrel-proof MGP rye. What the kind of value is that? Where are you getting that kind of value? Nowhere. Let's not forget, in 2024, Wild Turkey tried to charge you $300 hairs for a goddamn 10-year-old rye that wasn't even barrel proof because they put it in a fucking cardboard box and called it Master's Keep. Okay, that was a legacy distillery. This is an NDP that paid the profits for somebody else to distill the barrel, MGP. They bought the barrel from MGP and then bottled it, and they're still selling to you for $97 hairs with tax included. And they're still making money. And all these legacies like Wild Turkey are fucking you for what they're charging you. So keep that in mind when you want to talk about value. So, sorry, I got heated on a tangent there. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about value. Is that this is, if this doesn't win Rye of the Year, I'll be shocked, because it'd be something even better than a 13-year-old barrel proof MGP. But I don't see how this loses value of the year. I don't know. Somebody surprise me. What's going to be the better value of the year? I don't know yet. So, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe. Consider joining my Patreon. Have a good evening, everybody. We'll see you next time.